Number 6.
Well, it doesn't have. They never put numbers on it, Dave.
No?
No, they had the slip placards. You know, the place to put the the numbers in. But if you go back and look at all the photographs, there's never any numbers on it. But the paperwork, the maintenance paperwork from the city of Memphis says Elvis Unit on the maintenance paperwork.
Okay. Well, how do we come up with number 6? That just
Well, it is ambulance 6. You know, that was the designation for that particular ambulance at that particular station. But it was never on the. I was hoping that it would be painted on the truck, but if you look at the photos, you'll see that it's not. It was never. There's no numbers on the truck. Well, did you open it and look in it?
Mm-hmm. Well, at the back, yeah.
You did in the back?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You didn't get in and lay down?
No. I was hoping maybe you can drive me around town, man.
Yeah, well, that was my big plan. To get you in the back and...
Yeah. How in the world did you find an ambulance that Elvis was in?
Well...
Dr. Nick and who else? Dr. Nick, Elvis?
Charlie Hodge, Joe Esposito. And they say there may have been a third person, but nobody knows who that person was.
How in the world did you find it?
Well, if you've seen my video about the Mac, the guy with the defib machine, Mac told me, Mac was interested. Of course, he saw the ambulance come into the emergency room, so he was interested in in finding the ambulance, and he looked for it for years. He actually called he called the city, he called the ambulance department, he called the vehicle maintenance place. He called everywhere trying to find it, trying to figure out what happened to it, and nobody knew. So he happened to be talking to his neighbor across the street. He worked on that, he told me, 3 years. He called every place looking for it. And he happened to be talking with his neighbor one day, which was a fireman across the street from him. And he mentioned it, and the guy said, well, I know where it's at. My buddy bought it. And so he went to his buddy's house and saw it. And he said when he saw it, it had auto parts in the back of it. So when he told me that, in my mind, I thought that they had just trashed it by throwing stuff in the back of it and that kind of stuff. But that was 17 years ago that he saw it in the guy's backyard. So when he told me that story, I thought, well, I've got to see it. I've got to find it. And so he gave me the guy's name, the address, or as close as he could remember. He didn't have it quite right. The spelling wasn't right. It wasn't the same last name. It was real close, and he knew the street. So what I did was got on Google and started searching for everybody that lived on that street based off of that name, and found the one that was the closest. Went and knocked on the door. One time when I was in Memphis, you know, of course this is outside of Memphis, so I didn't go often. But every time I go to Memphis, I go knock on their door. So the first time I knocked on the door, the guy said, it said, yep, we had it. It was here, but my brother, it's at his house. And I said, okay, well, I want to see it. And he said, well, unfortunately, my brother's passed away. So I'll have to contact his widow and see if she would be interested in letting you see it. And I said, okay. Well, I gave him a card with my phone number, my YouTube card, and never heard from him. So I was expecting a call like that day or something. Never heard. So next time I came back to Memphis, I went back again. And this time I talked to his wife. So that went on for a period of about 2 years. And I kept going. So one day, this past Elvis week, I wasn't planning on even going. We had things to film, an agenda set up, things we were going to film. And I hadn't even had that in my mind. I had decided that's a dead end. You know, clearly they don't want me to see it or whatever, so it's a dead end. So I was filming something, a story, one of Rex's stories that I was working on. And the house that I happened to be at was like two blocks, roughly 2 blocks from that house where I'd stop and knock on their door. So I thought, the guy that was with me running the camera, I told him, I said, well, we're close to the ambulance house. We're going to stop over there and knock on the door. I wouldn't have even gone if that hadn't happened. So I went over there and knocked on the door and told the lady the same thing. I said, look, I don't want to be a pain. I know y'all are tired of seeing me.
Now this is the widow?
No, this is the brother's house.
Okay.
his brother and his wife, where the truck was originally. And he said, no, because if they let me talk to the widow, I'm at the house where it's at.
Yeah.
So she said, I said, look, I'm not trying to bother this lady, but this is of, in my opinion, high historical significance, so we need to see it. And she said, well, I've been watching your videos,
Really?
and I understand what you're doing,
Oh.
and
Isn't
I'll
that
give you the information. So she gave me the basics. When I drove away, she texted me the exact address, phone number, name, the whole 9 yards, and I drove straight there. So you can imagine my surprise when I pull up and I see it, and it's a giant yard, you know, really a big house, nice neighborhood, a huge yard, and I can see it in the back. So when I pull up, I don't know if she's going to let me see it, kick me out of the yard, run me off, whatever. So the first thing I do is take my camera out, take my cell phone out, and take a couple of pictures of it from a distance, make a little 10-second video, and then I go knock on the door.
I bet your heart was racing.
It was, and she was very nice, very receptive, and I told her, I said, you know, you realize that this thing needs to be in a museum? And she said, yeah, I do. I said, so that means it's for sale? And she said, yeah, well, I would love for it to be somewhere other than in my backyard.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I said, well, let's explore that. So I talked with her a little bit that day, told her I would go pray about it, and I did, and the Lord gave me a specific figure. I went back and used that figure and made a deal with her, but I also did a biblical deal with them. You know, the Bible says that we're supposed to take care of widows and what's the word for children? Orphans.
Yes.
Widows and orphans. So part of my deal with her is if this device, if this ambulance ever creates any revenue, she gets a percentage of that revenue.
Nice.
If I ever sell it, she gets a percentage of what it's sold for minus cost, you know, minus the cost of selling it and what I paid for it.
Honoring
And
God's word.
so I believe God will honor it, and something special will happen. I still haven't, it's early on, so when you see this video, it wasn't shot yesterday. This video was, I don't know, it may be a year down the road before you see this video.
Yes, sir.
But Dave is here, so he wants to shoot it anyway. So the deal is I haven't made a decision. I don't know if we're going to restore it, if we're going to show it like it is, if I'm going to put it on tour, if I'm going to put it in a museum. I haven't made a decision yet, but I am working on it, praying about it. We've talked to some people. We thought it would be real cool to do one of those car shows like Counting Cars and get him to restore it, where you could drive it, but I want it to be back like it was. And what I'm saying is, I don't want it souped up. It just needs to be back stock. And they could even do a cool thing like restoring the truck part of it, but leaving the ambulance like it is, not repainting it or anything, leaving the box like it is, you know. And but Elvis was in that. Whether he was alive at the time can be debated. Some people say yes, some people say no. I don't know, but I do know that that is the vehicle that was there on August the 16th and transported him from the house to Baptist, then transported Dr. Nick back to the house to get his car. A lot of people don't know that. Dr. Nick rode back in that ambulance back to Graceland to pick his car up.
I didn't know that.
Yep. Yep, that happened.
You also did a video tracing the ambulance route.
Yeah,
Day.
I sure did. Now,
Right.
and ironically, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I did that on the 40th anniversary at exactly the moment that the call came in, 2:33 in the afternoon on August the 16th. I did that August 16th, 2017. August the 16th, 2018 is the day I found that ambulance.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, so exactly 1 year to the day that I made that video, I found that ambulance.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
that was the day, August 16th.
Yeah. Nice. Nice job.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. It's very surreal.
Well, I'm glad you're going to share it with us. There's a lot of people that's interested in what happened to the ambulance and the hearse, and we can read online that the hearse burned up on the way to Alabama, was it?
Florida. But I have a lead on the ambulance. I'm headed to Florida on Saturday, and I've got a guy that tells me he knows where the remains of it are.
Or the hearse?
Yeah. So if it's down there, I'm going to film it. I'm on my way to do that. So
Are you?
that film may already be out.
All right. Yeah, it's good. Good to see my good friend, the spa guy. Oh, by the way, where did you get insurance on it?
Insurance on, yes, I did. I bought it from Dave, the insurance guy.
All right.
So I insured the ambulance before we moved it. And I would say it's an antique insurance. Is that the deal, like classic car insurance?
Collector Classic.
So Dave hooked me up with Collector Classic Insurance. And
Well,
even though he's all the way in Las Vegas, Nevada, I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, I still buy my insurance from Dave.
That's super. Well, we appreciate your business. And
Leanne, wherever she's
yeah,
at.
Leanne's out here too.
She's hiding over there.
I think she did a courtesy walk around on the ambulance viewing, but
Yeah.
you and I, our heart's in it. My heart's racing. In fact, I kind of want to cry.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're licensed in most states, so if we can do anything for you with classic car insurance or anything else, let us know.
And the states that he's not licensed in, he'll say insurance anyway. It's no biggie.
We'll take your money anyway. All right. Well, thanks for
All right.
sharing with us.
Appreciate you, Dave.
Okay. This is it. Wow. Amazing find. The ambulance Elvis was hauled to Baptist Memorial Hospital and
Did you get up close to Bruce's fire department in Memphis?